Today I'm going to be reviewing the Arctic Air Pure Chill Evaporative Air Cooler. I'm filming this in July, the heat is here, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now it depends on where you live, but in the South, summers are pretty brutal. And that's what really piqued my interest in the Arctic Air Pure Chill. I have seen a minimal amount of reviews on this product, and most were not all that positive. But anytime I want to review something, I intentionally try to avoid other reviews because I don't want to see anything or read anything to influence my review. So I did want to give this a chance and see if it works and to what degree it actually works. Now this is basically just a miniature version of larger evaporative coolers. And larger evaporative coolers do work. And if you're not familiar with what evaporative cooling is, it just means that it cools the air through the evaporation of water, which is a little different than how an actual air conditioner works. So it'll pull in warmer air and the water cools the air down, then it's blown out with a fan. Now looking at the box, it doesn't exactly show that it will cool down a room anywhere. It does say that it's great for basements, living rooms, bedrooms, etc. But it doesn't say that it would cool the whole room down. Maybe it's just creative marketing. Now in the South, where air conditioning is a requirement, I don't see something like this replacing air conditioning. But if it could somewhat drop the temperature or the felt temperature, it could be helpful by running the air conditioner less. During the summer, our power bill doubles due to the air conditioner, so I can see the benefits of using a device like this. So let's take it out the box and try it out. Now one interesting feature of this particular model, and I could be mistaken, but I think this is maybe the third iteration of the Arctic Air, is that it contains a UV light and nano silver technology. Now, can this little machine purify the air and kill germs effectively? I have no idea, and there's really no good way to test that. But I don't believe most people are buying this for its ability to purify the air. Maybe some are, but I don't think that's the big selling point of the Arctic Air. Now the unit comes with a power adapter, so I don't think there's any option for batteries or a mini USB charger. It also has a thank you card and says 20% off your next purchase and a product guide. I plugged the Arctic Air in, and per the instructions, after you plug the unit in, there's some little clips here to run the power cord in so it doesn't get caught up in the fan, so I did that. Next, this is the filter drawer. So I'll pull that out, and here is the filter. It says for best results, lightly pre-soak the filter under cold running water, and for even more cooling power, place a wet filter in the freezer until frozen. I don't really have time to freeze the filter, but I'll put it underneath the cold running water and we'll see how that works. Okay, before I put the filter in, I'll show you there's really not much to this unit. Let me see if I can take this drawer out. It basically consists of a fan, the drawer where your cooling filter will sit, and and the reservoir on the top for your water. The tray is designed so that any water that drips off the filter will be caught in here. Of course the sides are high, the back and the front aren't quite as high, but I don't think there would be enough water in here to actually run out and cause any problems. Okay, I'm going to put this back in. Try to get my drawer. Alright, drawer is in. And next, I need to put some water in the top. I didn't see anywhere where it said exactly how much water the reservoir held. So I put 3 cups of ice water in here, and I'll just pour it till it looks like it's about enough. Alright, that should be enough for the video. Put the lid back on. And I think we're ready to test this thing out. The vent louvers on the front are movable, so you can help direct the airflow a little bit better. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is it does come with some lights, I guess like mood lights. It says it has blue, red, white, teal, purple, yellow, green, and color cycle. So I don't know if the lights will work without it being on. Apparently not. It says when you start the unit, it'll default to the high-speed mode. It also says that it will run up to 8 hours on high, 10 hours on medium, and 12 hours on low. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on and check it out. So here's the high speed, and I don't know, I wouldn't say it's exactly quiet. You're definitely going to be able to notice that sound. For some people it may not be an issue, you know, if you're sleeping or something like that. Some people like some static noise in the background. But as far as the sound level on high, it's definitely noticeable. So let's check out medium. Still noticeable, I believe. It's not obnoxiously loud, but you definitely are going to know this thing is on. And let's check out low. You're going to get some noise from the Arctic air on all three of the speed settings. Now I will say I put the fan back here closer to the camera so you could get a better idea of how loud it was. And I do feel a fair amount of cold air coming out on all three settings. I'm going to put it back on high. I'm actually surprised at the amount of cool air that's coming out of this little machine. As I said earlier, the few reviews that I did see really didn't give it much credit. And this is not going to replace an air conditioner by any means, but so far it seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. Let's change some of the light colors. So the lights are cool. It's a nice little feature they added. Again, that would not be a selling point for me, but it's still a nice feature. I've let the Arctic Air Pure Chill run for a couple minutes now. I wanted to see if it was going to vibrate or walk across the counter. And it hasn't moved. And this is a fairly slick surface. It does have 4 rubber feet, so it stayed in place very well. Now when I was turning it, I did have a little bit of water spill right out of this area here. Not that big of a deal. It's not supposed to be moved. But it is something to just consider if you do need to move it, that you need to be really careful with it. And I do have the water level fairly full inside. So now that I know that the Arctic Air Pure Chill does actually make cooler air, how effective is it going to be at cooling down a room or area? I'm still going to stand by my opinion that I doubt it's going to cool down a whole room. Maybe something small like a bathroom or a really small office, it could help. But let's see just how much it's going to cool down an area. I'm going to turn it right here. My thermometer says 73 degrees and 52% humidity. I do have all the air conditioners in the house off, so I'm going to sit this about 2 feet away in front of the Arctic Air and just see what it shows after about 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes is up and 74 degrees and 52% humidity. So I really didn't see much of a change. And I said it was about 2 feet apart. It was actually more about 18 inches because it was right here. So I expected with the cooler air coming out of the Arctic Air that it would have dropped the temperature a little bit. And it really hadn't. Actually, the humidity is now at 54%, which I expect that because it's an evaporative cooler, so it's using the water to cool down the air. But I'm really just not seeing much difference with the temperature. But again, I can feel the cool air blowing out and it actually feels good. I'm going to keep the thermometer right here and the Arctic Air pointed at me for another 5 minutes. And I want to see what the temperature reading is going to be on the thermometer after that point in time. Because remember, I don't have any air conditioners or fans on in the house right now. I've given it another 5 minutes with the Arctic Air Pure Chill blowing back in this direction and the thermometer sitting here, and something very interesting happened. The humidity level is lower, which I totally expect since the Arctic air is creating humidity, but the temperature actually went up by a couple degrees. Now, as I said, I don't have any air conditioner on in the house right now, so what this tells me is that when I had the Arctic Air Pure Chill blowing directly on the thermometer, even though the temperature didn't really lower, it was basically keeping the temperature from rising. So that tells me that the Arctic Air Pure Chill was working. And during that time, I also measured out the distance at which I could feel the Arctic Air Pure Chill blowing. It was about 10 feet was the limit of what I could feel any appreciable amount of cool air. But up to about 5 feet, you could still feel the cool air blowing pretty well. So as of now, I'm pretty happy with how well the Arctic Air Pure Chill is working. It's doing what it says it would do, and it's doing it pretty well. You can see that as I've been talking, the temperature has risen, and the humidity has also went up. I'm not really sure why, but the Arctic Air did keep the temperature down when it was blowing on the thermometer. So I actually like this product, and it's one of the things that I think I'm going to keep probably in the bedroom and just let it run at night. And while it did not actually lower the temperature with the thermometer when it was blowing directly on it, it did keep the temperature from rising. While it's not going to cool down a huge area, for someone who works in a cubicle or to put it on your nightstand while you're sleeping, or even if you're in the kitchen cooking and creating a lot of heat, putting the Arctic Air Pure Chill right in the area where you're sitting, working, standing, or whatever, it will help cool down the air around you. Now, one thing to remember is that I did fill this with ice water, so I'm sure that that made some impact on how cool the air blowing out of the Arctic Air Pure Chill was. If you chose to use just water, maybe it wouldn't blow quite so cold, but really ice is easy enough to get that there's really no reason to not use ice unless you're just somewhere where it's flat out not available. And maybe even freezing the filter, which I didn't have time to do, would also help. But with just using the ice water in the reservoir and cold tap water in the filter, it's doing a pretty good job of cooling. The Arctic Air Pure Chill does run about $40. So when you run it up to that kind of money, something like this really needs to work as advertised. And I think that it does. That's going to do it for this video. If you liked it and found it informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.